This is the pecan tree that we grafted a couple of years ago. Now we grafted it, we have a Merrimack variety grafted onto a seedling rootstock. The reason you do any grafting at all is because seedlings of pecan are very variable and generally tend to be smaller, especially the native seedling trees. What we do is we graft a piece of wood from an improved variety, in this case Merrimack, onto the seedling rootstock, and everything that grows from here up will produce nuts like the Merrimack. If you go and take seeds of Merrimack and grow them out, they aren't going to be the same as the original Merrimack tree. So you need to have a piece of wood, some graft wood from that Merrimack in order to have a Merrimack tree. Now, when we collect that graft wood, it's important that you collect it from the right spot. All of this wood growing is the Merrimack. Any graft wood taken from up there will produce a Merrimack tree. Make certain you don't remove or use any of the wood below that graft as graft wood. Even though the tree up here is Merrimack, this is still seedling. If you use graft wood from here, what you get is just that seedling tree. You've gone to a lot of work for no result at all. Now this tree, we left these lower branches when we grafted it to act as a break, someplace where the vigor could go out into rather than up into the middle until our graft union became strong. We now have a good, healthy, strong graft union. All of these side branches below the graft need to be removed now. And also, if you look up, we have two very narrow crotches. Now these are going to be weak, and so it's best that we just remove them right now before we put any more growth and development into them. Just get them out of the way. We can use these pieces of wood later if we want to graft later in the spring. Now, if you plan on doing any grafting, the grafting will actually be done in late April or in May. But the graft wood has to be dormant wood. When you do the grafting, your rootstock needs to be actively growing, but that graft wood must be totally and completely dormant, which means you need to collect it during the winter months, such as now in February. What you're looking for is good, straight wood with plenty of healthy buds. You do not want to take wood from old, non-vigorous wood. It simply isn't healthy enough, and it doesn't have the caliper, the size needed to make good graft wood. You'll usually find your good graft wood on young, vigorously growing trees or in bearing trees up near the top where it's growing more vigorously. Commercial people who sell graft wood will actually prune their trees heavily in order to induce vigorous growth, which they then use for graft wood. Now, selecting your graft wood, as I said, you want straight wood with good buds. You'll notice the pecan buds, they actually come in groups of buds. It's not a single bud. There are several there, so if you break one off, then there will still be others. Your best graft wood is usually between a 1/4 inch in diameter is really your minimum size. A 1/2 inch is better. 3/4 of an inch is really your maximum size, and that gets a bit hard to work with. You'll usually cut it into about 12-inch lengths. And then you'll store it for later use in April and May. Now, several points to remember about the graft wood. For one thing, make certain you don't get it mixed up. If you're cutting several different varieties, make sure each bundle is labeled. To store them, you need to keep it from drying out, and you need to keep it cool so it stays dormant. The easiest way is to wrap up your graft wood in bundles. You can have them in very large bundles. They don't have to be single or double sticks like this, in either moist newspaper or moist paper towels. Not sogging wet, just damp enough to keep that wood from drying out. You can tie the bundles up with rubber bands or something else to keep them together. Then put them in a plastic bag to keep the paper towels from drying out. Then put it in the refrigerator. You want to keep it cold, but don't freeze it. Do not put your graft wood in the freezer or it will die. Keep it cool. The best temperature is somewhere just above freezing, but a normal home refrigerator temperature is perfectly adequate and will keep the graft wood in good shape until you get ready to graft. Okay, you've collected your graft wood. You've stored it properly until grafting time. Now don't fall apart then. You've gotten good graft wood. Keep it in good shape until you get to doing your grafting. When you go out in the field, make certain that you keep it moist, keep it cool. Don't let that graft wood dry out. You can go to all the trouble of saving it for several months and then have it all be ruined by keeping it in a hot car, letting it dry out, letting it cook, and dying at the last minute. So keep it cool. A little ice box will do well. Wrap it in moist burlap. Anything to keep it cool and keep it moist.